discuss a former South Boston Police Department on the run. Now, here's a backstory you may not know. This officer was promoting and advocating for the use of vehicular manslaughter brought on by other police officers. He's basically saying, I hope more people plow through these protesters and demonstrators in the middle of the road that are employed by law enforcement. He posted some questionable racist stuff, some really vile stuff in regards to protesters being called parasites for exercising protected activities. So it was concerning to me enough to screen cap all that stuff and share it with the community. And I did. And Elizabeth Trent and Nevaeh Hodge of the Unity Project ate all that up. And what they did was they turned it out into a racially charged, motivated thing to get him removed. And they failed miserably with that because you could speculate that there was some racial things involved, but nothing concrete. I would love to give it to him on a silver platter if he had it, but no. So anyway, I exposed this gentleman, screen capping things from an alias account by the name of John Connor on Facebook, and shared it with the community. And there was an outcry and an uproar about how could we let somebody work for us that behaves like that. Well, he resigned, and when he resigned during the investigation, I guess the South Boston Police Department calls off an investigation when there's no current employee there. So, with the investigation being called off, this gentleman receives a pension check. All right, now let's talk about this. Since I've exposed him, he has become very threatening. He has been harassing me, stalking me on various social media platforms, and I've recorded this evidence of harassment, and I requested a warrant to be taken out against him. And one had. And when the magistrate called the police station, as I sat on the other side of the glass and watched the magistrate try to gather information about this former officer, it appears as if the magistrate was given a hard time by the South Boston Police Department because they just didn't want to give him information. He was asking a couple questions and he flailing his arms behind the counter, and they finally broke down and gave him the information to try to track him down to serve a warrant. Well, good for them. So here we are today. With me being a victim of crime, having reported RICO violations to the sheriff's office and being retaliated against for exercising a protected right by them, on a state and federal level it was protected, by the way. I'm a victim of some serious crime brought on by members of law enforcement who are continuously covering each other's backs with their blue code of silence to ensure that these individuals are flight from felony arrest and apprehension, and to ensure that obstruction of justice is occurring so these people can protect other people in the Fraternal Order of the Police, their criminal organization. Now, Jerome George gets a pension check. He gets a pension check. He has made a public post via newspaper and made statements to an individual named Mark, who he mislabeled. I'm Mike, hey. Anyway, he made these statements in regards to Mark and how he's going to get his pension check, and every time he sees those numbers and the deposit in the bank, he's going to think of me. Well, ain't that sweet? Because I'm thinking of you right now, committing a felony, retaliating against me, the victim of crime, via harassment, being an accessory to a felonious criminal episode. That is grounds for disqualification from your pension. The state of Virginia does not protect you when you commit a felony when you have a pension. Knowing that I cannot just go and take out a felony warrant against you because your brothers in arms with their shields are going to protect you, and the report I make, they will obstruct it. It's kind of hard and you got to study the art of war to know how you're going to play this one without being caught up in a legal vortex, which has been designed to be a succubus through all sorts of subversive tactics. Okay? I am going to be updating information made to the FBI in regards to this gentleman's case right here of harassment, retaliating against me, the victim of crime. I'm going to determine whether or not I've actually made a report with an FBI agent in the past. I'm going to investigate who these operatives are that pick up the phone when I call the FBI. They are not FBI. They are hired by a contracted agency, a third-party company, to be put in place to deflect criminal reporting to the actual agents of the FBI. So stay tuned for that one. I'm doing another FBI video coming up real soon because I want to ensure that I actually speak with a badged official and I actually get a report number. Because I speculate the last time an operative that is an operator called me that is not a member with the FBI and investigated and had me report a bunch of crime. And they said they put it in a computer, which means they filed the report, but I never got a report number. And my FOIA request didn't yield anything. So I suspect somebody who answered the phone, who called me that day after I'd been hung up on by those operators employed by whatever agency is put in place in front of the FBI, I suspect they obstructed justice and tampered with the information that I gave them in an act of retaliation. So that's why I posted the video, how to record these people committing felonies against you. And I've been following a guy on YouTube who's fucking brilliant, and I have to share this. Lincoln Square Leonidas. Props to you, bro. You are doing it. You are actually, like, almost to a T, conducting a 14th Amendment audit. Lincoln Square Leonidas is exposing racketeering influenced corrupt organization operating in and around Gettysburg, Pennsylvania. He's a former military veteran who has the capacity to work through his legal paperwork with, wow, dude, like a man after my own heart. I'm very proud of him. I can tell that he does not have several years compounded of legal abuse that is causing him to be a little slow. He doesn't have that. I have that. I'm a little slow with paperwork as a result of several years of legal abuse. We are forming a class right now. I wanted to reach out to anybody who is honestly interested in the work that I've done, the information that I've reported on. If you have similar things that have happened to you, I want to tell you to go review Lincoln Square Leonidas' case. He has done an impeccable job auditing police, auditing the courts, and recusing. Dude is finesse, man. So, I wanted to give you guys an update. I wanted to shout out to everybody in the state of Virginia right now. We have a BOLO being issued, a be on the lookout for a former South Boston police officer, Jerome George. He is suspected armed, and given the nature of the information that I've gathered from him, I would suspect him to be dangerous. If you see this gentleman in the state of Virginia, please call law enforcement immediately. If you need a picture, just Google his name, Jerome George Officer, and you will have a long list of Google stuff coming up. Once again, we need your help. We need the public's help finding him to bring this individual who is currently wanted to justice. I want him to be tried for his crime of harassment against me. And, you know, I got to say, what moron is going to make threats to me at this point? I don't know. I just recorded an individual with the email account Auditor Killer from ProtonMail.com. Auditor Killer tells me he's got the right to rape me. Well, sir, dude, do you know what crime is? I guess you don't, because now you are an accessory in this criminal episode. So I've already sent Proton Mail the information and evidence. I am preparing now to forward that to a couple different law enforcement agencies to tie more shit together. I have been retaliated against by individuals named Blue Bacon, Schrodinger's Cat, Creaky's Retarded Army, even Audit the Audit. These people have taken my information without communicating with me and made a bogus bullshit story online to feed their community of blind followers. None of those gentlemen will update their audit of my failed audit, okay? Because it was failed. I tried to crunch the night before. It was terrible. I was so stressed and overwhelmed. You can understand having everything taken from you, how detrimental that'll be to your health and welfare. Anyway, these gentlemen, what they aren't going to tell you in regards to the audit that they did of my video audit of my citizen's arrest and attempted seizure of my property, they're not going to tell you that law enforcement rolled up via a false statement given the police that I was threatening and harassing his employees. Now, that is solicitation, and those are false statements. And I just see somebody said Schrodinger's cat died. Good, we don't need him around. Obviously nothing fruitful to bring a community. And with what he did to me, bringing the troll army to my page, I gotta say it's a love-hate relationship there. So I really don't care if that gentleman died at all. You know, he did what he did to me and threw me under the bus for no good reason. Backing up, these auditors aren't going to tell you that I exercised a protected activity on a state and federal level to perform and conduct a citizen's arrest over felony within view. People want to argue with me. You can't do that. There's no felony within view. Well, within view is being attempted to be extorted over your stolen property actively. That is like fucking right now within view. So, needless to say, these other idiots wanted to cough up local statutes and ordinances to try to prove that I had no right to be where I was at the time. False statements were given on behalf of the defendants claiming it was private property. Well, it was private, but it's also public. It's a gray area bullshit. So, with that being said, I fought pre-trial, caused them to hire a second defense attorney 1 month before trial by jury. And that new defense attorney, he said, we're going to give it back. I said, why? You guys wanted me to call off the lawsuit before, and you want to give it back? Are you going to ask me to have any contractual obligations or any stipulations required for the obtaining of my property back? He said, no. I said, good, sir. You don't want to compound a felony. And he just choked for a second, and he was quiet. I said, because the last one, Jim Daniels from Danville, Virginia, with that bullshit law firm he's out of, that guy's a crock of shit and a retarded public defense attorney. Jim Daniels tried to convince the lawyer to go around state law to have me charged for subpoenas and filings in court when I previously filed in formal pauperis, which covers the whole duration of my case. So that was the first attorney, straight up criminal, compounding felonies, engaging in contracts with my stolen property. And while this whole ordeal's going on, me fighting for my RV back, I got Jerome George stalking me, threatening me, and harassing me on the internet, making very harassing remarks and sending me half-naked pictures of myself. You know, I'm doing a good job. I'm doing a very good job. And I could do better. I could do a little bit better with the help of people like Lincoln Square Leonidas. And there's a few others out here. He hasn't gotten any traction. Share his material like wildfire. I swear to God, he's honest with his work. He's uncovering corruption. And he is gathering evidence of the same modus operandi that me and other 14th Amendment auditors are recording. That is retaliation and tampering against victims, informants, and witnesses to crime via obstruction of justice. That shit goes hand in hand. So what we're doing is we're educating victims out here that if you are a victim of crime and you go to law enforcement, you get a report number when you file it. And if you don't, you make sure you get a report number. And if there is no report number, you can expect that officer to retaliate against you and tamper via obstruction of justice with the information you provided to the Mr. Blue Coat of Silence. So, guys, it's been a hell of a ride. I got my RV back, and I honestly fucking hate it. I said the day that it was taken from me that it appreciated. And I haven't felt it because I haven't been awarded anything, because the judge discriminated against me and pushed me out of court over a phone call alone. He ordered me to participate in a settlement conference. Now, I'm the plaintiff, the victim. You think I want to engage in any contracts with those criminals? I said it 20 times, no deals. I said I'm grinding it out. I said to the judge, I have no interest in participating, but he's a judge. He ordered me to do it. And I answered the phone. I told him that I have no interest in the call. The gentleman who was hosting the conference said, that is your right. And then the judge, who found out I didn't participate in the settlement conference, retaliated against me, accepted a order that was pre-drafted by those defense attorneys, by the new defense attorney, to have them relinquish my property immediately, free of all repercussions. Just cough it up out of thin air. They got the judge to sign that. Now, the judge discriminated against me, ordering me, a poor man who filed in forma pauperis, who had his home and all of his things taken from him, to have a physical home address and a telecommunications device for the duration of my lawsuit, which I can understand, because that would be something I need to keep up to date with the courts per the rules of the court. Now, those rules are very discriminatory against poor, private, and nomadic citizens that are not bound to addresses and that have a choice to not have a phone. But they are required by a set state of rules, and these rules discriminate. So as I do what I do, I uncover things like this that are not right. Every lawyer I spoke with regarding that judge's behavior says that ain't right. He can't do that. Well, he did do that. And you know who's defending me? Not a goddamn person. I do want to leave you all with this before I sign off right now. I want to tell everybody out there right now that we are naming the Bar Association as a criminal organization. Bar members. I am now calling out bar members for being accessories to felony crime via obstruction of justice to ensure the retaliation against victims of crime. Allow me to elaborate. Where we are at now is, I just had a brain fart. Just saw somebody up the hill. Backing up, I just totally forgot what I was going to say. Oh, yeah, I was going to leave you with this before I signed off. Everybody out here who is a victim of a malicious prosecution that yielded no charges, no convictions, where the state would drop charges against you, just free, clean, and clear. If you hired a defense attorney or you got a public defender, I want to let you know right now that these agents operating on behalf of their criminal organization have information, irrefutable evidence, and accessories in their possession that show that felonies were committed against you. Now, when your case is dropped and you're free of those allegations, of criminal allegations, and your attorney's like, well, you're free to go, I want you to look at your attorney and tell him that as he is cognizable of certain felonies that have been committed against you, he's in possession of criminal exhibits and evidence, and you would like him to file a proper report with the proper authorities. I spoke with a gentleman out of Los Angeles recently, and he said that his clients just want to move on with their lives. Because I asked him, I said, Did you ever file a criminal report against these individuals for committing felonies against your clients? He said, no, most people just want to move on with their lives. I said, hold on, pump the brakes. These people are victims of crime brought on by officials that abandoned their oaths to office, committing perjury in the process of bringing about false charges and a malicious prosecution against you. And these people are entitled to damages. As a matter of fact, with a lawsuit that can be filed, they can recoup the money that they spent to hire your criminal ass. Exactly. So they just want to move on with their lives without receiving any damages and be at a complete loss. I refuse to believe it. That's why I called him a criminal, okay? And I want you guys to start calling out these bar members for doing exactly that. Obstruction of justice. They perpetuate this shit every goddamn day across our country. This is a criminal organization. These courts are state-sanctioned monopolies. Guys, we're doing a great job. We have, a few members of the class have approached the grand juries in a couple different areas, and they've been refused access. We have a right to approach the grand juries. We are recording crimes of obstruction where people are obstructing people access to the grand juries. We are currently looking to bring information back to the international criminal courts and expose the United States for its corruption. Sorry, not the United States. Expose these criminals that live and work in the United States for their corruption. Going back one more time, seditious conspiracy. Blue Bacon wanted to read a statute that would have people not allowed to park their RVs in public property between certain hours in the night. If I don't have my own land and I roll up in a community and I'm tired and I want to go to bed, where the fuck you think I'm going to park? Maybe not private property if I have no right. I'm probably going to park on public property. Now, that gives an officer the ability to come solicit a charge and attempt to extort me. And this is an example of racketeering under color of law. That's right. Now, where the seditious conspiracy occurred was with the legislators that proposed the legislation that would abrogate a citizen's right over their protected property in public. So you mean to tell me that the Fourth Amendment is null and void because my local legislation says it is between certain hours? Get the fuck out of here, dudes! Like, you know what? We need to start sharing the knowledge. We need to start spitting these words out. Seditious conspiracy, criminal organizations, racketeering. And we need to apply them fluidly to the instances at hand where we can show examples where this shit is occurring. And then when people start figuring out, holy shit, I'm a victim of racketeering under color of law. You know what? You can probably join the class that we're going to file one day to expose the court systems in the United States. We can prove at this point that there is no blankets of security provided systems, which show that these courts that are supposed to provide security blankets to victims, not a literal security blanket, metaphorical one, that it is a conflict of interest with the actual courthouse that cannot provide these things. Now, just because an individual has not been arrested for a crime committed against me doesn't mean that I'm not a victim of crime. Booyah. Y'all have a wonderful day. Just spilling the info there to YouTube land. I appreciate the 5 viewers I got. I've had a hella influx of trolls. The one thing I now do is I do take time to read the trolls' comments, and now I'm just deleting them. So I like to know that they go out of their way to talk shit for absolutely nothing. You know, if they want somebody to see it, to feel empowered, and to build on the thread of their comment of hate, it's okay. They're not going to get that anymore. I'm not turning off commenting. I don't want to. I want people that need to reach out to reach out to me. People that request information to request it, and I'd be glad to share it. Broken System Trust, I thank you for joining. I'm not familiar with your work. I'm going to look into it here shortly. I would love to see what you have done, and I would be potentially interested in speaking with you to see what kind of work you're doing and potentially collab on something. I want you to look up Lincoln, like Lincoln, Nebraska, Lincoln the car, Lincoln Square Leonidas, like the 300 dude, Leonidas. Anyway, look him up. A lot can be learned from what information he has shared, and a lot can be pulled from public information to further help people fight the racketeering at the local levels. He's got a great foundation for people to begin to stand on with what he's recorded. Guys, I'm off here. I am rambling. It's been 25 minutes. I'm sitting here with food. Just hadn't eaten it. I'm just like, I got a cop on the run, man. It feels great, you know, like it does. It feels great. Yo, Triple Indy was great, man. You guys have a wonderful day. I appreciate you for tuning in. Take care.